Hey everybody, so I'm going to do another review. Part of coming back and doing reviews is reviewing stuff that I would have reviewed when it came out, so if this is old news to you, my apologies. It is interesting to me. So, here we have the Jagdpanzer Marder I from Tamiya, 35370. This is a Lorraine-based Pak 40. I won't go into a history thing on it, but German dude named Alfred Becker made a bunch of cool stuff of varying degrees out of French captured vehicles. I've always thought they were interesting. I'm also a Marder nut, so we'll have a quick look at this little Marder kit. Okay, briefly through the instructions. I don't want to bore anybody to tears, other than that when I film these I can go back and use them as reference. If I lose the instructions, yes, that's happened. Multi-piece hull instead of a tub. Got some supports in there, or a firewall, something of that sort. Exterior bogie-like suspension. Everything looks pretty simple. I've seen this as like some big one-piece thing. I've watched a couple build reviews of this already. Link and length. We're going to try really hard to get Tamiya's link and length correct, because I do not have any Lorraine tracks laying around, so that's my only option. There are radios and stuff in there, which is super cool. But nothing looks terribly complex, other than there's a little bit more interior than, say, you would get in Tamiya's old Vespa, which I happen to have right here. Like, I never took this guy past base painting, but, you know, that's like their old school, like 90s era open-top interior level. So it looks a little bit more complex than that. This I'm actually really looking forward to. If anyone remembers my first time-lapse kind of build video was of the old 70s Pak 40, so I'd like to see how their current Pak 40 goes together. So it doesn't look much less complex than that old one was, or more. It looks pretty similar, but we'll see. Then you mount the Pak 40 down in the little thing, and you've got figures. So, like, this is the figure from the Jagdpanzer 470. And he's pretty cool, and I've built up all the ones for the Panzer IV-F, so these are all really good. Here's that guy. So all of their new figures are pretty good, but I haven't been painting them or using them. Another fancy Tamiya painting and marking guide. Looks like Eastern Front whitewash, Eastern Front, and Normandy, which is what I want to go for. I like my open-top tank destroyers yellow. And then some pictures of a museum vehicle, which I assume is at the French Museum. 2 duplicate suspension sprues. Really small tracks. I'm not sure if those are smaller than Panzer II, but they sure do look like it. I'm kind of grateful for the link and length, because I don't really want to deal with really tiny tracks. Some very not that interesting wheels. A sprocket that almost looks... It looks very foreign to me, because it's not German. You can tell us by looking at it, it's not German. That right there, that's German jack clamp. Pak 40, 75mm rounds, that's cool. This looks like the upper superstructure, and the Pak 40 shield. Detail, very sharp. Rivety stuff is very pointy. All the sharp edges are super sharp, which you would expect from any Japanese company in this century. You can kind of see, they almost look like sink marks or something right there. See that? Could be nothing. Could just be that I'm seeing through the plastic because it's really thin or something. I imagine paint would cover that up, but we'll have to check. See it in the light. It does look a little, I don't know if mismolded is the way to word that, but that's suspicious. All the other parts look better. This has a little bit of that weird sort of cooling, marbling, but a lot of the old, even 90s Tamiya kits had that, and that's totally fine. This stuff is really nicely molded too. This thing's gorgeous, look at that. Super cool. All looks fantastic. We've got some of these risers that Tamiya does now, so that it lifts it off the surface. It's a little less realistic than like the way Dragon does it, but it's super convenient. Some really clean racks for the ammo there. Super nice. And this radio looks really good too. little smaller than the ones I'm used to. Hull tub parts, huge ejector pin marks, or no? This here is more of that marbling texture. Doesn't really matter, it's totally fine, but it's everywhere. Look at it on here, it's really, really pronounced there. But it doesn't affect the plastic at all. All the sharp ends are really sharp still, like I'm poking myself on them. Really nice stuff there. Not a lot to report. Here's a really small little part that sometimes can get a little wonky. They all look incredibly sharp. I'm really looking forward to this one. I was about to do this kit before I did the L70A, so. Last sprue. So this guy's got 3 sprues and suspensions. Super old school Tamiya, I love it. So here's our new figure, or figures. There's 4 legs. I'm going to assume that's 2 guys. I really can't say enough what the how nice the fidelity is of these new figures. This guy is super cool looking. I don't know if I'll put him in the L70A, but I might. But yeah, I will build these regardless because I'm just really impressed with that part of it. Again, they break up. Well, these guys are a little less broken up. These guys, like their breast lapels and stuff will be separate pieces, but on these guys they're a little more traditional looking. Just arms, legs, and whatnots. Their hats are separate, which is cool. Headphones have been a staple of Tamiya kits for a long time, but check that out. It's like a dragon-style punch-out nub. Way to finally come to the party, Tamiya. Alright, so the barrel, one side is the whole barrel with half the muzzle brake. I think this is how they did their Easy 8. I never did their Easy 8, I did the Tasca one. But so you got halves of a muzzle brake and a whole barrel. So that won't at least have a seam line there. Tool filigree stuff here, Pack 40 parts. Yeah, these are just like probably little gun parts or something. Perfectly molded. Again, a little knockout mark there. Good job, Tamiya. Or the sprue gates, whatever you want to call them. Some of this stuff is crazy small and detailed. Wow. And these little wheels for the Pack 40. There's their jack that they're doing like Dragon kits now, which only took them forever to do. Bam! So I will be building this guy. He's next in line on the Tamiya tour of easy kit building. I am still doing the Tasca Firefly in the background and working on my Panzer IV. Detail painting my Panzer IV F1. He's hanging out. This was my sort of return kit, and I'm still loving it. It's detail painting is hard, but it's really fun. So once he gets done, we paint the L70A. In the meantime, this I'm sure will get done in like a day or two, so it's fine. But you know, I'm not going to recommend stuff until I build it, but like, good lord. It's a Marder I and it's Tamiya, so it's just super cool, and it was really cheap too. It's even cheaper than the L70A was. If you didn't go out and buy this a couple years ago when it came out, you probably should, because holy crap,